I like
All
your
right.
shirt.
Well, thanks. This is my shirt that I wear whenever we talk WWE. So
Did you happen to get it in the merch store, beerbluesbs.com?
I like how you're doing a cheap plug before we've even gotten there. Like I haven't started the show yet, so hold on to that thought, kidder. Hold on to it for just a wee bit, okay?
If I have to.
Oh, you'll see why.
It's time to play the show. The bell has rung, and that big show might be over. But it's time for us to bring wrestling information you can enjoy with the match predictions, analysis, the ups and downs of professional wrestling, all reaction, some beverage drinking to bring you logic on tap with your good brothers. It's time for you to look into the eyes of Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder on Beer, Blues, and BS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special wrestling review episode of Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that's, basically a premium. Well, we can't say live, can we? A premium recorded show. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing tonight?
In live living color. Premium live living color. How about that? I'm doing all right. I made it through another LPE. Yes, another one. So ready to talk about it. How about yourself? How you doing tonight? Good.
I'm doing okay. Bit tired. The have not been getting a lot of sleep lately. It's joy of kids. But I'm ready to talk about this show that I didn't watch. So
Awesome. Well, we better get something to drink because we're going to need it.
yes, I would agree with that. It's time for a wrestling edition of What's on Tap.
What do you got over there? Who's on second?
I'll go first. Kidder, I've been drinking a lot of Shiner on the show lately. So I figured I should break it up, change it, do something else, do something different, and have a Shiner candy pecan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go seasonal on it.
I see. Something you've had on the show before. We both had on the show.
Many times. I still have like 2 more of these up in my fridge. So, I try to save the good stuff for the main show and just have a repeat on the wrestling show. So that's what I'm drinking. Shiner candy pecan. It's good. What do you got?
Let's dip into the Triple B beer fridge and see what we have. We might as well do a rerun as well. How about a Budweiser Select? Let's go with that. There it is. Again, the 99 calorie, 3.1 grams of carbs right there. Look at that. Yep. It's a Select lager, full body, genuine. It's good to have these things be authentic. 100% renewable. I suppose you drink it and goes in one end and comes out the other. Does not, so I looked at this before to try and figure it out. It's in the fine print on the back. So we have the 12 fluid ounces and 99 calories average analysis. On top of a few other things from Anheuser-Busch St. Louis, Missouri. It's 12 fluid ounces and 4.3% alcohol per volume. So, let's go! Let's get it going. WrestleMania Backlash 2022. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm. And as Kidder takes a swig of his beer. As I said, I didn't see the show, which is probably going to become a trend for a while. Now that we have 2 kids, it's probably going to be harder for me to get down to Kidder's place to take in the pay-per-views and such. So Kidder's basically going to be the one suffering for the both of us on these for a while, unless he ever wants to come up here. But I doubt he'll want to come up here because, it's Kidder. That's how it's always gone. I think the last time I invited you up here to watch the pay-per-view, you said my TV wasn't large enough.
I mean, we do need to make that a little bit larger. So, if we get sponsored by like Sony or LG or Samsung, that would be awesome. Get a new TV for you, fill up that space on the wall that needs a giant TV and sound system to go with it. I think that would be awesome.
I have a toddler who throws things. I don't need a bigger target.
Yeah. Well, that'd be the great thing with the sponsorship, because it could be the tough enough model. See how it can be, resiliently built to withstand children. There's an idea for you, any of the major electronics manufacturers.
Yeah, now we just got to hope one of them is one of the 15 people who are actually going to watch this show.
Yeah. Hey, those people know people too. Remember, sharing is caring. Thank you very much. Share the podcast across all of the places: Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, etc. We're all over the place. So visit beerbluesbs.com for more. Let's get to the show, because that's, I guess, why we're here. The opening video, not too bad. It is a lot of rehashed stuff because it's WrestleMania Backlash now. It's not just Backlash anymore. Yeah. So we start off the night with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Seth Rollins out second for this one. So this one really was started off as like a classic match, some takedowns and lockups, trying to get in each other's heads. You know what I mean? Well, Rollins somewhat had control for most of the first part of the match. I mean, you think about him losing at WrestleMania, maybe that was a huge storyline contributor as to now trying to know Cody Rhodes. And so, yeah, I forgot. We should do some picks as well, or mention the picks, because somebody just sent me a message in the video chat here that he's taking Cody Rhodes. Which reminds me, how the hell do we do this show? What are we doing? Is this rum rock and rumors again? Did we get traded? We didn't even know, because I think the draft is coming up again.
Yeah.
My pick, I have to look again, was Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have even had to look.
For the audience, if you haven't ever tuned in to one of our wrestling reviews, it's been a tradition of ours now for way too many years to do predictions on the pay-per-views. So we take the card, everybody guesses who they think is going to be the winner. And we always say that you have to have it locked in before the match starts. And such, so that you could make a change up to the match starting, because sometimes things happen and all of a sudden it's like, well, that guy came in and he's actually injured, so now we're swapping the opponent last minute. So we allow ourselves up until the match starts to make changes. We keep score kind of throughout the night, and the person who wins gets, I don't know, bragging rights. But
that pay-per-view is dead.
Oh,
they're now live premium events.
well, that's why you would get it. You now winner gets the rights to bragging rights, the pay-per-view.
Has WWE cleared this? Do they even know about it? It's probably good that they don't know about us, because then we can still do this.
Yeah. And so on shows like this where Kidder has seen the show, I haven't. Usually he tells me what match we're going to, and I will usually say who I'm taking. But since he dove right into the review, I wanted to get it locked in, so I threw it into the message chat so that we would have a timestamp to go, yes, Howard did put in his pick before Kidder told him. So
yeah,
keeping my honest.
It's true. Honesty. All right, so this match, it really had some good pacing to it. There wasn't a lot of the dead time in the middle of the match, which was nice. It flowed really well, and they were really hard hitting. And I say that because toward the end of the match, you could see bruises on each other from like the ropes. Yeah, it was quite painful looking anyway. One point, Cody rolled up Seth for the pin, and Rollins got his foot on the rope, of course, and the ref caught it before anything screwy happened. So, stopped the count at 2 with that. Had some more back and forth action, and basically Seth Rollins tried to go for the pedigree, and then Rhodes countered. It was a pretty sweet roll up with Rhodes getting a little bit of the tights at the end, and then getting the 3 count for the win. Overall, it was a very good match. So I enjoyed this one, and looking forward to Cody Rhodes being in that upper echelon of the wrestlers now that he's, switched back to WWE. And hopefully they continue to use him in a decent manner. Yeah, there are just some awesome spots in it, and it would be worthy of a watch.
How would you say it rates versus their WrestleMania match? Because as much as I wanted to, and as much as a lot of people said that their WrestleMania match was amazing, I wasn't a huge fan of their WrestleMania match. And so what would you say? Is this match better or worse than what they did at Mania?
I would say this one was even better than at Mania, because they kept the pace. There were some points at the Mania match when it just got a little slow, and you started wondering other things of how many lines of pyro does Cody have? I wonder if they're going to keep the pyro for all of his entrances. Where did they get that giant ramp? Things like that. Didn't have time to think about that this one. So I thought it was better. And hopefully, in the middle of the night when you're awake, you get to watch it.
I no promises of that. Usually if I'm awake in the middle of the night, I'm trying to get a toddler to go back to sleep, which sometimes is easy and sometimes is not. So, yeah. Lefty actually had to come and wake me up because I was on the floor last night and I had fallen asleep. I was so tired. She's like, I don't think you want to actually sleep on the floor. I'm like, you're correct. So we both had to sneak out and such. So, yeah. One
of the other things we talk about on this show, of course, is the Draft Kings Screwy finish of the night. And Draft Kings still being a sponsor of the pay-per-view, live premium events, my bad. Live premium events. I would say the next contest would fit into that category. It's Bobby Lashley and Omos. Omos is now being labeled as the Nigerian Giant or something like that. Okay. And if you didn't know, which I don't remember if it happened at WrestleMania, I think it did, but it's hard to remember when it is of minimal consequence. But MVP turned his back on Bobby Lashley and is now the mouthpiece for Omos. So Omos was accompanied by MVP. My pick for this was Omos.
Hearing all of this, a screwy finish, MVP, a giant who can hardly wrestle. Yeah, I'll go Omos as well.
Okay. Before we start talking about that one, I just remembered that we talk about the length of the matches. The Cody Rhodes Seth Rollins match, 20 minutes 45 seconds. So a good opening contest. In fact, the second longest match of the night. The Omos Bobby Lashley with MVP. This match was 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, with this one, they're two big guys. Bobby Lashley, he can do some of the work to really try and, I guess, carry the match. Because, as you said, Omos can't wrestle. It's just bad. Not a fan. Essentially, Lashley went after Omos right out of the gate, tried to land some strikes, get that, quick offense, I suppose you could say. But Omos, of course, smash, angry. So, essentially, through this match, it was way too long. I didn't really like watching the match. It wasn't the worst match I've ever seen, but it definitely didn't need to be on the main card of a pay-per-view. Now, Lashley tried to get Omos stuck between the ring ropes. Okay. So he could basically, take a bunch of shots. Well, the official was there, was not looking, and ended up getting him back in the ring. Continue the match, right? So Bobby Lashley applied the Hurt Lock onto Omos, but Omos threw him back into the corner, backed him up, and was able to break it. At this point, the ref was looking at something, right? Maybe got spooked by a natural sound in the wilderness. Had to look. MVP grabbed his cane and right to the throat of Bobby Lashley. Omos did the two-handed choke slam. 1, 2, 3. Done. Now, it was, again, a little bit better than the WrestleMania match. Did this need to happen again? No. It really it didn't have to happen on a pay-per-view. So the video production was good. They put the packages together. I've always been a huge fan of the WWE showcase promos. They did a great job with that. It's way better than the match. And it was, better use of my time being only 2 minutes long. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even have anything to really say, Kidder. This was kind of a surprise to me because I kind of knew Backlash. The pay-per-view after Mania is almost always like rematches with maybe a few new feuds in, because usually they debut somebody, so they getting them up to their first pay-per-view. But this was on that list of matches. When I saw it, I'm like, this again.
Yeah. Because once wasn't enough.
Right. And I would say this is not one of the matches I would have picked to be on this show. So,
yeah, you're not the only one. The other interesting fact is, as I sat and watched the pre-show, wanting to throw my head through the wall because of the over-analysis on this awesome show that's coming up, and I get you got to build the hype. But no matches on the pre-show tonight at all, which, sure, fine. Could have done a match or got it out of the way or had another match, a better match. Put that match on the pre-show. That would have been fine, but nah. It is what it is, and that's all that was, and now we can move along to the next match. I was waiting for a comment from you, but that's okay.
I have. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a thing. No matches on the kickoff shows anymore. You know,
yeah. It would still. I still would like for them to start this stuff at like 5 for the pre-show, or the kickoff show, and then 6 o'clock for the main show, and then be done at 9. So then we don't have to wait longer to do this. Or just do it on Saturday, because that helps a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it does help when it's on a Saturday, and then I can stay up late and edit and get this to you, the fine people, sooner. Although that said, I have a template set up, ready to go, just waiting for this footage. So,
which is kind of sad when you think about it, because WWE live premium events are so similar that we have a template. Think about that for a moment. Next match on the card is Edge and AJ Styles, the rematch. Along the way between WrestleMania and now, Edge has cut some really good promos. They've been really good, but at the same time, very reminiscent of the House of Black. So, I don't want to say WWE is copying AEW, but maybe just the timeliness. Because Edge, obviously, in his early part of his career, doing the shall we say, sinister act, and he's really bringing that back, which is cool to see. He's taking Damian Priest under his wing, making him, the mentor, passing along the torch to the, 5th generation of wrestlers since Edge started, and trying to make wrestling better. So the promos have been really good. One stipulation that was made, Damian Priest had to win against AJ Styles on Raw, otherwise he would be banned from ringside. And of course, he did not win, so he was banned from ringside. What else can I talk about before we get into the picks? They're using LED lights and darkness. The promos were really good. So that kind of gives you the precursor to this match. It's a WrestleMania rematch, but there's still those elements that are in there. My pick is Edge on this.
I'm kind of tempted to go AJ Styles, only because WWE tends to go 50-50 booking. So since you had Edge win Mania, maybe you have AJ Styles win here, especially since you don't have Priest at ringside. You know what, Kidder? If I don't be somewhat contrarian, we're going to end up with the same score. So you know what? I'll take AJ Styles just to mix it up.
AJ Styles for the win. All right. Well, the match starts off. The bell rings. Both of them run at each other like rabid dogs. The pit bull's loose. So I say pit bull because Edge kept saying that he wanted the pit bull version of AJ Styles. And I didn't know if that meant that he becomes Mr. Worldwide and starts speaking Spanish, or if he's just really aggressive. It's unclear at this point. So, first few minutes, AJ Styles, huge advantage. Edge ended up countering the phenomenal forearm, and then Styles immediately trying to go after the shoulder of Edge, or I guess it was AJ Styles' shoulder. So Edge tried to go after that. So Edge and Priest did some injuring to that on Raw as part of that storyline. So from then out, Edge controlled most of the match. You know, there was a few short bursts of offense. It really seemed as though Edge, knew everything that AJ was going to do. So there was some good work put in there of both wrestlers knowing each other and doing what they could to gain that advantage and continue the storyline. Both wrestlers kicked out of each other's finishing maneuvers as they, tried to go for that finish. It turns out Damian Priest showed up even though he was banned. What? Then Finn Balor came out to fight him and remove him from the situation. Then a person in a hooded sweatshirt came over. The ref was distracted. Styles was on the top rope. The person in the hood pulled Styles off the top rope. Edge then was able to get AJ Styles into the modified crossface sleeper hold for the tap-out victory. So Edge gets the win. AJ rolls out of the ring, and the mystery person in the hooded sweatshirt enters the ring to be with Edge, stand side by side. Hood comes off. It's Rhea Ripley with new hair. So Rhea Ripley is now in Judgment Day with Edge and Damian Priest. Hopefully they don't screw it up because we know how much they like stables. This match was good. It was hard hitting and, decent for especially what we were expecting out of the runoff pay-per-view from WrestleMania. So AJ Styles seems to be really invested in this. Like he really feels the story. At least that's how it feels when you watch the storyline between AJ and Edge. So I don't know what they're going to do next, but if they continue it, I'm not going to be terribly angry. I mean, I could see them even building to a finish at SummerSlam or something, because AJ and Finn Balor had a too sweet moment on Monday Night Raw. So there's potentially something to think about. Your reaction?
Well, the first thought is, man, this is like a second candidate for the Draft Kings Screwy finish of the night.
Correct. This one I would think would be the victor for it on this show.
Then let's call it right now. That's right. This match, the Draft Kings Screwy finish of the night. Yeah.
I know you couldn't see it, and I did that on purpose.
I figured as much. Nothing on this, I guess, surprises me too terribly much. The Balor AJ Styles I mean, they're both members of the Bullet Club, or were members of the Bullet Club. So it makes sense to kind of partner them up. Kind of a shame that they never really partnered Finn up with AJ when you had Gallows and Anderson there as well, because then you would have had a nice stable of four for basically the Bullet Club reunion. But you know, they didn't make use of that opportunity.
And then they fired both of them and they went elsewhere, and they're doing more and a lot of interesting things elsewhere.
Yeah, and it was sad because they hinted at it, they just never pulled the trigger on it. It was kind of like the Four Horsewomen match that everybody wanted and they never pulled the trigger on. So it's
disappointing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I have a feeling they might continue this until SummerSlam. It's a possibility.
Hell in a Cell is also the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, they could end it at Hell in a Cell too. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, because why drag out a storyline for 6 months when it's good?
Yeah.
Next match is WWE SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte Flair versus Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Coming into this match, back and forth, contract signings, shenanigans. Charlotte Flair saying, I'm going to beat you. Ronda Rousey saying, shut up, bitch, I'm going to beat you. Of course, at WrestleMania, Charlotte tapped out, but the official was distracted and did not see, and ended up with Charlotte retaining the title at WrestleMania. And it's really been back and forth. They're trying to kind of force it. There's some of it where you can see Ronda not having I guess let me just put it this way. Ronda works stiff. Put it this way. It's not that she doesn't know what she's doing, obviously, because, you know, she's been all over the place and has won UFC titles and knows how to snap your neck. So she knows how to do a lot of stuff. But let's just say she works stiff. My pick, Ronda Rousey.
I too would pick Rousey in this, especially in an I Quit match. If I recall, the match at Mania was one of our Draft Kings Screwy finishes of the night. So this would be a good chance for Ronda to get that revenge. And also, why do you bring Ronda Rousey back to beat her twice?
And of course, being an I Quit match, there are no rules except for making your opponent say, I quit into the microphone. So, there's that. So you were going with Ronda as well?
Yep.
Okay. So this one started off pretty quick. I mean, Charlotte tried to go for the big boot right off the bat, and Ronda ducked and then unloaded on Charlotte because, you know, MMA striker doing MMA things. Aside from that, they weren't specifically going for submissions, right? They're just trying to beat the crap out of each other through the match and torment each other to the point of saying, I quit. At least at this point in the match. So it didn't take long before it spilled out around the ring apron. Now, we know that WWE loves the kendo sticks. So Charlotte found one and tried to go after Ronda, and Ronda ended up grabbing it out of Charlotte's hands, and then Charlotte backed up the entrance ramp to behind the LED wall and came out with 2 kendo sticks. And then, yeah. So they started swinging at each other with 1 and 2 kendo sticks. It ended up, it was Charlotte swinging the 2 of them. The kendo stick that Ronda was holding went flying off into oblivion. And then Ronda took a few hits from the kendo sticks and suddenly grabbed them and then chased Charlotte back to the ring and started whacking the hell out of Charlotte. It didn't take more than three minutes for the welts to show up. And speaking of time, really sucking at this. I keep forgetting. Last match, Edge, AJ Styles, was 16 minutes, 25 seconds. This match, 16 minutes, 35 seconds, just to mention that before I forget. So again, they're in the ring, exchanging blows. The kendo sticks go off to the side. Now, they ended up spilling back out into the ring apron area as Ronda was trying to chase Charlotte down. Charlotte grabs the camera off the shoulder of one of the camera dudes and throws the camera at Ronda. Completely missed. Like, it wasn't even a close thing. It was like, whoo! And then the camera goes bouncing off. I'm like, that's a perfectly, probably good camera. Then they went into the audience, and they were fighting each other. Charlotte grabbed a cup from a fan and threw it in the face of Ronda, temporarily blinding her. And they were, stomping each other on the concrete. A couple cool moves on the concrete. And then they got a hold of a chair, I think, and started running back toward the ring. I say I think because it was kind of all over the place. The camera, doing the WWE camera shake and everything. So there's that. Got back into the ring, and Rousey ended up getting Charlotte countered a move because Charlotte was going to go for a high risk maneuver. Well, Charlotte ended up hanging upside down from the top turnbuckle. And this was kind of cool because Ronda grabbed her arm and was inverted along the ropes, pulling on the arm bar. And Ronda was pushing up with her legs to try and get Charlotte to say, I quit. But she just screamed and said no, and then they eventually both fell down to the floor. So they continued doing some more back and forth action, ended up getting back into the ring. Charlotte was trying to beat the crap out of Ronda, obviously, throughout the whole piece here. But one thing to note, the crowd kept chanting, "We want tables! We want tables!" They never got any tables. So I'm sure everybody in Providence was disappointed. On to the next piece. Well, Charlotte grabbed a chair, brought it in, and Charlotte basically said that this is what you wanted, a happy Mother's Day. With that time, because Charlotte's now trying to set it up next to Ronda to do probably natural selection or something with the chair, Ronda reached through the chair, grabbed Charlotte's arm. They did a roll-up, so then the chair is inverted and like pressing against Charlotte from the side. And then, so they're both kind of on the mat, but Ronda has Charlotte's arm through it, and she's got her in the arm bar through the chair with the torque of the arm against the pieces of the chair. And she started pulling, and of course, ask her, and she's like, no. And Ronda goes, bitch, I hope you would say that, and just cranks the arm like out and around the chair, and Charlotte's screaming, and then ends up saying, I quit. Ronda becomes the new WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. Later in the show, we end up hearing that Charlotte has a fractured radial. So, kendo sticks. Yeah. Just looking at notes here. But it looked like it would really hurt with the kendo sticks, specifically, especially because one of them broke and Ronda was still hitting Charlotte with it. So just like the previous match with Cody, a few minutes in, the welts were showing up, and you're like, that bruise is already there. That's gonna hurt a lot.
Yeah, this sounds like pretty standard fare for an I Quit match. Doesn't sound like there was anything too out there or really even unique with it. Sounds like there were a couple of interesting spots, but I'm just saying, there wasn't anything to propel it to something, a bit more, than just your standard fare. It didn't have a big time spot like when was it Owen? Yeah, Owens ran over Roman Reigns with the golf cart.
Yep. I mean, Roman ran over the Owens with the golf cart. And Owens went flying into the windshield.
I couldn't remember who hit who, but it was a moment like that, just something to make it stand out. This sounds like it was, hey, we're hitting with kendo sticks. Hey, we're hitting with chairs.
And no tables.
Hey, we're using, a finisher through a chair.
There was a powerbomb spot. Charlotte powerbombed Ronda onto the ring barricade. The barricade that goes around between the ring and the fan section. Just boom on the side of it. You're that probably didn't feel good either.
Yeah, I am a little disappointed that the crowd, when Charlotte threw the camera and missed, didn't start chanting, "You just bought that. You just bought that."
She'll take the loose change out of her boots and hand it over.
Yeah.
All right. There was a video package about Drew McIntyre, the same one that I think we've seen 3 different times already. And then the next match. Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. This match was 9 minutes and 50 seconds long. Again, this match could have been on the pre-show. Backstory for it. Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss were BFFs, and the Happy group, whatever, they would do their thing and tell jokes. Got 2 short jokes and a long joke for you. Okay, what are they? Joke. Yeah, it's classic. Basically, of course, right, SmackDown before WrestleMania, Madcap Moss ended up winning the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial Royal, and Corbin didn't like that, and they've been falling out and now are feuding because of it. This one, I chose Madcap Moss.
Are you sure?
Did I?
I don't think so.
Let me look.
You chose Corbin.
I did put Corbin. I did put Corbin. Okay. So I put Corbin. I don't know why I put Corbin, but I put Corbin. Well, there we go. Changing it up so you can have Madcap Moss.
And that's who I'm going with because of, with the whole Andre Battle Royale, I think they're pushing him. So that's who I was going to pick.
So this one apparently is the fourth and final WrestleMania rematch for this show because it's only been the fourth match of the show.
This wasn't even a rematch because they were, it was Drew McIntyre versus Corbin at Mania. So this isn't even a rematch. This is one of the new matches that they added to this show to spice it up a little.
Yeah, super spicy, like ketchup. So this one, basically a standard match. They did all right, struggling for control, back and forth. They did some leapfrogging, which was interesting because Corbin is 6.5 feet tall, and Madcap Moss isn't the smallest person either. They slowed the pace down mid-match, which of course for us but it's how it goes. Essentially, this one was better than the last time they fought. I mean, they did try to do a little bit more offense and show off some other skills. There was a pretty cool deep six because one of my favorite finishing moves, and then turns out pretty much out of nowhere, Madcap Moss does a sunset flip and gets the clean pin. Madcap Moss cheers on his way out, and Corbin looks really sad. Overall, it was all right.
I don't have much to say. This was the filler match before for the main event. So
the Bloodline versus RK Bro and Drew McIntyre. Yes. There's a video pack before this as well. Now, with this being the final match of the night, a lot of people, somewhat including myself, were saying, why didn't you just make these two separate matches like they originally were? Tag team matches were supposed to be a unification, and then on the other side was for the Undisputed Championship. Well, that's not what they did. And they went into the 6-man tag match. Almost said trios match. Wrong company. So Randy Orton and Jimmy Uso started the match for their respective teams. And I'll stop there because the picks are important. Yeah, I picked Team RK Bro and Drew McIntyre because it's a non-title match.
Mm-hmm. Kidder, I see that logic. I agree with that logic. But according to the scoreboard, we're tied at 4 apiece. So we got to have a winner. We can't end this in a tie. So I'll take the Bloodline.
I mean, we could end with a tie.
I mean, we could, but
that'd be
drama, man.
Drama. That'd be WWE booking, right? Wait till the next show to see who actually wins.
Exactly. But we're better than that. We will have a winner. Somebody is leaving this show with a title.
I already have 3 titles. I'm the man, the myth, the legend.
A title and the rights to a dead pay-per-view. How about that? Sweet the pot.
Judgment Day.
Bragging rights.
Name about 50 more of them. All right.
Capital punishment.
Yes, I thought they were bringing it back for a second. Cody, there's a promo for for turned to be SummerSlam, but Cody Rhodes is in the field talking about independence and whatnot. And I'm like, oh, and they're bringing back, like, I don't know, anything around the 4th of July, like patriotism. No, it's just SummerSlam. That's nowhere near the 4th of July. But whatever.
Great Balls of Fire?
Yes, that's just what we need. The one-off pay-per-view with flaming balls. Just what we need. I would have to say this match was mostly interesting, even though I don't have a lot of interest in the overall storyline. Now, crowd was even chanting before they really started the match, which was kind of interesting. Couple classic, shall we say, vintage Orton moves, because Michael Cole was on the call for this, and they made a point later on in the match when Randy Orton got his hands on one of the Usos and was able to put him up on the ropes, that Pat McAfee goes, "You haven't been able to say this in a long time, so I'm going to let you have this one. I'm not even going to step on you." And of course, like, "Oh, thanks, Pat." And then, Orton does the off the ropes DDT, and vintage Randy Orton, there it was. At least they laughed at it, because, yeah. Anyway, this one was really back and forth and had a lot of action, as it should for a 6-man tag, especially with the people who were involved in this. There were quite a few spots in this around the ring, both with having legal spots between those two wrestlers and the not legal spots of breaking things up and doing the double teaming and things like that. A couple super kicks from the Usos at a few different points, those sorts of things. I mean, this was basically the 6-man tag team match that you would see on Raw or SmackDown, but amped up a little bit because of the people who are in there, and it's a pay-per-view, so you do a few more spots. McIntyre eventually was going to put Roman Reigns through the commentator desk, but one of the Usos came over and blasted him, and then gave Roman enough time to regain composure and grab McIntyre and put him through the desk. So, yeah, we didn't get to see Roman Reigns going through the commentary desk. So that was kind of sad. There were some spears, the Superman punch, again, back and forth. Lots of near falls in this one, with, of course, each of the members breaking up the tags. Orton had a very, very large pop for this as well. It looked like he was having a lot of fun, and he was doing a hell of a job. So I was really pulling for them to win. Not just because they were my pick, but they were showing that they were doing great. Let's see. As we ended up getting to the end, there were some real cool spots with RKOs being divvied out, the super kicks, double super kicks, the Superman punch, the Glasgow kiss, the Claymore kick, like all of it, everything happened, right? And then, well, Riddle took out Jey Uso with an RKO from the top rope. That was really cool. Roman Reigns blasted him in half with a spear and did a very quick 1, 2, 3, and they became the final victory of the night. And by very quick pin, I mean it was done. I'm like, that is not an official WWE cadence. So shenanigans, but it was not one of the, screwy finishes of the night. We'll put it that way.
Sounds like it was a good match overall. So might be one worth trying to track down and check out.
This was 22 minutes, 20 seconds. This was the longest match of the night.
Which makes sense. So, overall, Kidder, how would you rate WrestleMania Backlash?
Going into it, I had very low expectations, so I'd say that it exceeded my expectations, but that isn't really saying a lot. With the very cool spots that were done in the final match and the edge match, I feel that those were really the two matches of the night. I mean, there were, once the Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair match was at its pinnacle there, the nearing the end of it, that was really good as well. So overall, wasn't the worst pay-per-view we've had in the past 12 months.
All right. I can't give it a rating. I could give it a rating on how much I want to see it, which probably rates it a maybe if I had time. Maybe. I mean, there's so much other good stuff out there to watch.
Time, maybe.
Maybe if we had time, maybe. Yeah.
It's like a 1.5 out of 5, or maybe a 2.
Yeah. It's kind of like Pacific Rim. One of these days I'll watch it. Maybe. If I have time. And even then, maybe.
Still worth the watch.
Still on the shelf back there.
Yep. That joke / bet came up earlier today, in fact.
Oh.
Oddly enough that you say that.
Interesting.
Because the content that I won't wait until the next episode of Triple B to say this, because we went to the Doctor Strange Madness in the Multiverse or whatever it is on that would have been last night already, and there is a reference to Spider-Man in there in the multiverse. And I was like, oh, that's fine, not gonna see it. And then at breakfast this morning, we were talking with my parents. Oh yeah, you should see that Spider-Man. Nope. Not gonna watch it. Not gonna. Why? I mean, it's good. Nope. Don't like Spider-Man. Not happening. And I know Lane's never gonna see this part of it, but I'm not gonna watch it for you either, Lane, because, well, he was basically betting that he could do something, and then I'd have to watch it. So no, not gonna watch it.
No, it wasn't that he was betting that. It was a offer I made him many episodes ago that if he could get you to watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is not the movie your parents are talking about, nor the one referenced in the Doctor Strange. But if he could get you to watch that, then I would watch Pacific Rim. Was the offer, and so
sounds like a bet.
It wasn't quite a bet. It was more of like, hey, Lane, if you can do this, I'll give it a watch Pacific Rim. Not that I'm like holding out to watch Pacific Rim, except now it's trolling Lane. So, yeah.
I'm still not going to watch Spider-Man. I might watch Pacific Rim for you again. Just so that somebody watches Pacific Rim. Anyway.
I was going to say, Kidder, we've been talking for quite a while. Usually we don't do too much on the cheap plugs on these wrestling reviews. So if you want to hit the cheap plugs really fast and bring this episode to a close, I think it's about time we do that.
Well, let's hit a plug or two anyway. The biggest thing that we need to tell you is to become part of the show. Like, subscribe, share. Please and thank you. If you want to sponsor the show, you can do that as well. The best place to do that and find out info is at beerbluesbs.com. It's right here on the screen if you're watching the YouTube version. beerbluesbs.com. Again, beerbluesbs.com. And while you're there, you should click the merch button and get yourself some sweet swag. The premium live event swag. We got shirts, sweatshirts, t-shirts, pint glasses. I think there's a wine glass even on there. there's all kinds of stuff. Great designs. Premium live event swag. It's a premium t-shirt. That's what it is. Howard just showed me again. It's on the website, beerbluesbs.com. That is our show. Thanks for spending some time with us wherever and whenever you are. Really appreciate it. For my esteemed co-host, Howard Blues, I'm the man, the myth, legend, Mark Kidder. Join us again next time for another edition of Beer, Blues, and BS, or a special edition where we cover some wrestling on Beer, Blues, and BS. Again, make sure you keep your glass at least half full. There's free beer tomorrow, and we will catch you on down. What?
Hey,
What?
do you want some breaking news?
What? Breaking news!
Breaking news. I was trying to get in. You were going so fast. There was a race here. But hey, Kidder, speaking of where you can listen to us, I haven't had a chance to tell you this, but you can now get Beer, Blues, and BS on Samsung Podcasts and on Podchaser Podcasts. So either of those apps, you can now get Beer, Blues, and BS as of this week. So they just got added to the Podbean service. So I got us signed up for that. So yes, 2 more places where you can get Beer, Blues, and BS.
We're everywhere, man. Awesome. Well, now that you have that good news, carry on with your esteemed life. Thanks for joining us. We hope to see you or hear you again on the next edition of Beer, Blues, and BS. Catch you out on that dusty Tuscon highway.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
All right. I literally was racing over here as fast as I could because I couldn't remember what the 2 new ones were.
I'm like going and I'm looking and I see this out of the side. I'm like, oh shit, what did I do? Did I say something backwards? What happened, man? Where am I? Is this a live premium event again? Damn it! Another one,
No.
There's too many.